about whether that building that the shooter accessed should have been secured. Should it have been secured? And do the Pennsylvania State Police have any responsibility to have security?
I'm not going to get into any questions answer any questions regarding the ongoing investigation. I trust that the FBI and the Pennsylvania State Police will keep you posted throughout the day and in the days ahead as to their investigation.
Governor, there were some concerning items that the police had found in the suspect's vehicle. Do you have any update on those? And are you confident at this point the threat is over, that he acted alone and that the public is in fact safe?
The investigation is ongoing and law enforcement will update you on the status of their investigation throughout the day.
Can you share any more about your communications with former President Donald Trump or his team?
I have not spoken directly to the former president. I have wished him well. I think multiple times last evening through statements Lori and I have. The people of Pennsylvania, I know, were praying for him. And again, according to his team and himself, it seems as though he will be fine, obviously, relatively speaking. And we're glad to see that. Violence is never acceptable. I should also let you know that I did speak to President Biden. He called me last night to make sure that here in the Commonwealth we had all the resources we needed. I assured him that we did. At the time, he had yet to speak to President Trump. I think they connected later in the evening, and he wanted me to know that he was trying to reach out to the former president. I think that that was the honorable and right thing to do, and I'm glad that President Biden did that. We have no unmet needs at this time, and we're working in concert with our federal partners, and I let the president know that.
Governor, have you talked to the families of those two who were critically injured, and do you have an update on their condition?
I spoke to the family of one of them, and the other left a detailed message, and I'm not going to get into their status. That'll be shared by the Pennsylvania State Police and or the family later today.
Governor, will you be asking for flags to be flown at half-staff across the state, and also knowing that this is going to be really contentious, even more so, a battleground state for the rest of until what would your message?
Can I say, I just missed the last part of what she said.
No problem. The first was about the flags. The second, knowing that this is going to be even more contentious now in the state of Pennsylvania and that we're divided here, what is your message to people who live here?
I have directed that flags be flown at half-staff in Corey's memory, and our chief of staff is working through that process now. My message to all Pennsylvanians, my message to all Americans is to be firm in your beliefs, to believe what you believe, to advocate for what you believe, and to be engaged in the political and civic process, but to always do so peacefully. To remember that while we may be Democrats or Republicans, above all else, we are Americans. And if you look at the story of this great nation over the last 248 years, a nation that was born right here in Pennsylvania, it's been ordinary Americans at every single step of the way, rising up, demanding more, seeking justice, advocating for change, and doing so peacefully. And those who have advocated for such change peacefully, they have been the ones to bring that about. We have to remember that even in these times where there are real divisions, that we have to address those divisions through engagement in the political and civic process in a peaceful manner. That is incumbent upon all political leaders of all parties, and it is incumbent upon the public. I will tell you that notwithstanding the tragedy that we saw last night here in Butler, the awful tragedy, that every day when I'm around Pennsylvania, I see the very best of Pennsylvanians. People who do have fervent beliefs, people who do have passionate beliefs, but who engage in a peaceful manner, and who love their neighbors, and who engage with people in their communities, even those that they might have differences from. We need to learn from our history in this Commonwealth and in this country, and we need to bring our better angels forward and carry that forward into this political season.
Governor,
I'll take one more. Yes.
Can you expand on the situation of Mr. Compradori's passing? Was he standing behind President Trump? You said he dove in front of his family. Is there any more detail you can provide about
His
that?
wife shared with me that he dove on his family to protect them. As for any other information, that'll be shared by law enforcement. Thank you all very much.
Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro speaking, of course, the assassination attempt on President Trump took place in Butler, Pennsylvania, about an hour north of Pittsburgh. Here's what we know from that press briefing from the governor. He talked about Corey Compradori, the man who was killed in that incident. 2 others are in critical condition. Corey was a 50-year-old. He's identified as the victim, fatally shot. 2 attendees critically hurt. The families have been notified. Some more information on Corey. From what the governor just said, he had a career as a firefighter, a public official. He was at the rally with his family. He dove on his family. His wife said he was a hero. And obviously, as we get more information, this is all very shocking, like the governor said, and very sad for the family of Corey Comparatore.
And a statement from his sister, who also obviously in grief mode as expected too, says that, you know, they found out that he died on the news watching that not that press conference, but that rally and that shooting that happened, that assassination attempt too. So obviously tragic for the family on multiple fronts, and that's something you never want to see. You know, like you said, he was a husband, he was a father, he was a firefighter, he was a a community man of the community too. So it's definitely unfortunate to see, and you just hope now for the other 2 people in critical condition. You know, we don't know exactly what their injuries are or what that could be, and we don't want to speculate. But you know, critical condition is never a good thing. Obviously, they weren't as healthy as they were 24 hours ago, so hopefully the best for them.
The Associated Press reported they are 2 males. That's all we know, at least from the reporting that's been indicated about those other 2 victims. Okay, a couple other questions that Governor Josh Shapiro was asked. He asked about security. How was a gunman able to get in position to even fire on the former president? He said he cannot answer those questions right now because the investigation is ongoing. He also mentioned there was a phone call between President Biden and himself, and he noted that President Biden called former President Donald Trump last night and said that was the right thing to do. And he further mentioned that flags will be at half-staff after this tragic incident where one person, a firefighter, a former firefighter, from what we now know, was killed.
Right, yeah, and you know, it's going to be a reaction across the state. Obviously, you see the half-staff. I'm sure there'll be more things in his hometown of just honoring who that man was. Obviously, you don't want to see anybody die for any reason, especially a way like that as well. So definitely tragic times, definitely more hard times and rough roads to go before, obviously those 2 people who were injured in this investigation still comes to light too. So hopefully we can learn more today as we continue to learn bit by bit exactly what's happening. Really kind of every hour we're learning at least a tidbit here or there.
Well, we're expecting the current president, Joe Biden, to speak at some point today. And of course, when he does, we'll bring you that coverage right here on Local News Live. We will now head back to your regular, normal programming. You're watching breaking news on Local News Live. We'll talk to you throughout the day.
Rooftop collapses.